Well, music fans, and welcome back to the podcast about how music is. We need to explain it to women. And my name is May, and I'm a woman. I need explained music to.
Well, you see, Mayhem is actually
Mayhem. Okay, here's the deal with Mayhem.
With Mayhem.
Look, Varg was not technically in Mayhem. Okay, well,
Varg...
actually, he technically was, but he was never actually technically fired, so that's a myth.
If you look at it, Varg's really not that problematic.
He's really not, and also you have to look at his influence on the genre. It's such an important. Anyway,
Listen,
hi everybody.
Nazi socialist black metal gets such a bad rap.
Oh Jesus Christ! Hi everybody. We're making jokes because, goddamn, the thing I learned this week was that music fans love to explain things to women, and I can't stop joking about it. Anyway, I am in fact May Leitz. That is my name.
I'm Neo.
Yeah, and we're podcasters.
We're podcasters.
Yeah, you know that thing where they're like, there's that like group of kids in the room, and they're like, let's discuss Fortnite. That's what we're gonna do today, only about a movie that no one gives a fucking shit about, including like God and your parents and everyone. Like, I can't imagine a single soul.
It was frustrating because it's so fucking close.
It's an edging sort of experience.
It is like, it's like in Always Sunny, because I've been compulsively watching that show. When they're like so close to making the right choice, and because it's always sunny, they make the worst possible choice.
Right.
It is that, but unironically in an actual movie.
Yeah.
With Jack Black.
I'm going to admit that the moment that Jack Black walked on screen, I went, oh, I don't know.
I went, no way.
Oh, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. It was just like, I don't know. There was a part of me that was kind of gonzo excited about the whole thing. So the first time I saw that, okay.
So we're talking about High Fidelity. But before we get any further into High
we're
Fidelity,
getting way ahead of ourselves.
We'd like to thank our sponsors, Machine Age Productions, their RPG hashtag iHunt. We'd like to thank Ambient Dream Studio, and it's an Etsy store. We also want to just point y'all towards patreon.com/excrement.
We are taking more sponsors right now.
Yeah.
So if that's something you're interested in.
If you want us to stumble through an ad read with your product or service,
give us some good comedic potential, you know what I mean? Like, give us a good thing to do a bit on.
Let us advertise, I don't know, Patreon missiles. Or condoms. We'd also like to point y'all towards our subreddit.
We have a subreddit now, r/yourtakeisexcrement.
Yeah, I'm gonna do an AMA hopefully this weekend.
Okay.
Y'all can find my Reddit account full of the most nerdy things you can think of.
I did an AMA. It went so badly.
It went badly?
Yeah, everybody attacked me for being an asshole.
Did they cancel you for your political beliefs?
They did.
Were you... never mind, I'm not even going to make that joke.
No, let's just keep on going. No. Jokes aside, today we watched High Fidelity. Now, I know you're thinking, who cares? What is that? Well, so season 4 is the bit is that we're doing these like Sigma movies, and this is a covert, important Sigma movie. And many like asshole dudes I've known in my life have not only loved this movie, but literally like saw themselves as, it's literally me.
Yeah.
And it's like, this movie, in my opinion, is about how 4chan music has completely rotted everyone's brains.
Yeah.
And they need to take a large appliance and remove the bug from their ass and get the fuck over themselves.
Yeah. But that's, see, how it's subversive is that's how the movie starts, and it does evolve into something else. But I think like there's the good narrative of 4chan obsessed moo bored enjoyer learns how to be an actual fucking human. But that's not the direction this movie takes, and it's
edging on that.
Bizarre.
For sure.
But it would have been like it would have been such a good movie if it was. Okay, so describe the movie. The movie opens with the main actor. I can't remember his name.
John Cusack.
He's staring at the camera and he's saying, there's all this talk about trying to keep guns away from kids, but no one ever talks about trying to keep music away from kids, because because music introduces kids to despair.
Yeah, well, and
he's like, he is making eye contact with you.
He opens with this thesis statement that they never really return to, but like I do. It's a valid question, which is, am I miserable because I listen to pop music, or is pop music miserable because I'm miserable and I consume miserable music?
Right.
Like, chicken or egg? Is it my fault or is it the music's fault?
Yeah. So the movie starts, so he has that, like, borderline school shooter monologue at you. Then his girlfriend is like, you find out he is doing this monologue because his girlfriend is leaving him. And as she's leaving, he's like, all right, top 5 list of hardest breakups. And he names off five women, none of which are his girlfriend. And he's trying to use that to be like, you see that? I'm not that fucked up, you crazy bitch. And he's like leaning out of a window screaming about how not fucked up he is.
Well, and then you learn about his breakups and they're all pathetic and childish.
Yeah.
So
well,
it's kind of like Scott Pilgrim versus the World.
It's a little Scott Pilgrim-y. I like Scott Pilgrim better than this movie.
Well, I like it better, yeah, but I also am a known Scott Pilgrim versus the World not enjoyer.
Yeah. I'm a known Edgar Wright sympathizer.
Oh, okay. I like Edgar Wright. I don't like Scott Pilgrim.
Yeah.
I think Scott Pilgrim is a dirty story for dirty little boys.
No, I agree with you. I just like I don't know. Something about Edgar Wright's style like brainworms into my ADHD brain.
Oh yeah, well he's got that like style of just like everything's moving. We're not talking about Edgar Wright today.
No, we're not.
We're talking about High Fidelity.
Should we talk about Edgar Wright in the Sigma season?
Absolutely, we should.
Hell
we
yeah.
should talk about Baby Driver. That's a Sigma movie.
Is it?
Yes, it is. In my opinion. Anybody agree with me at home?
Yeah. Okay. No, the big question. We're gonna open with the big question. What's more Sigma? Scott Pilgrim versus the World or Baby Driver?
I'm going to say Scott Pilgrim, and the only reason is because it's more gamer adjacent, and Baby Driver is more moo board adjacent.
Yeah.
So it's like, which
Flavor?
poison?
Which is it R/, what's the gaming one? G?
I don't fucking know.
Here's what I out myself as a not 4chan enjoyer. I don't know the fucking boards.
Wow.
Yeah. My boarding school had it blocked, so you couldn't access it.
That's probably good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Y'all don't need to be watching gore porn at your little Christian boarding school.
Yeah.
So the thing I wanted to say about High Fidelity before we even get started is that there's everything about this movie going for it. For instance, it's basically just a straight up jacked fucking Richard Linklater cast. Like, it's just a Richard Linklater cast, which is great. I love Richard Linklater casting.
Right.
Have you seen, oh my God. Well, have you seen School of Rock?
No.
Okay. School of Rock in my brain is like the music movie that's like the anti-Sigma male movie, which is ironic because Jack Black and Joan Cusack are also in that. But
should we just watch School of Rock? Not even for the podcast, just to watch
School of Rock is one of my favorite movies.
Hell yeah,
that's not even a joke. Yeah, no, we should. I love that fucking movie. But anyway, like High Fidelity in my brain is almost like the adult version of a School of Rock. Uh-huh. You know what I mean? In a sense where it's just kind of like what music does to older people.
Right.
Like people who are obsessed with like elitist relationships to music.
Right. Like
what that kind of ends up manifesting later in their life.
It's like if the high schooler who never got off the Mew board, like never got punched in the face enough.
Yeah.
You know,
that's pretty fair. Like he never went through anything bad or hard in his whole life.
No.
Like he's complaining about his elementary school girlfriend and how she broke his heart, and it's like, wow, so nothing bad ever happened to you, huh? Like, damn, and you're sitting there like wallowing and listening to tunes and being like, girls don't like me. It's so incel.
Yeah. Well, like Anyway, so I'm sorry, I distracted you from the point you were making.
Yeah, well, the big point I was making was that there was a time many, many moons ago when I was like a young child, and high fidelity. Okay, you had asked before the podcast, what does that even mean? Like, what does the title of that mean?
Well, in relationship to like the movie.
Well, there's like a couple of different options. Like fidelity is often considered okay, well, infidelity is considered basically like a crime to tear apart something from its belonging, right? So like a lot of people would say like cheating, right, is like infidelity, right?
Yeah.
Because you're like not conforming to the relationship you're in, right? And then fidelity, on the other hand, would be conforming. So when it says when the title is high fidelity, what it's actually referring to is a cassette. Cassettes are either low fidelity or high fidelity.
Yeah.
Low fidelity being that it doesn't have quite the cohesion and quite the like the tape itself doesn't have quite the range and balance. Whereas high fidelity is considered like the standard for how people do tape because it's so like there's a lot of detail in it and shit.
Right.
So when this movie is called High Fidelity, it is simultaneously trying to make a reference to the tape thing, but also trying to talk about relationships and commitment.
Right.
And so the movie is ultimately about commitment, but it does it through elitism.
Yeah.
And then it backtracks on its commitments in weird ways, and then just kind of gives up.
Yeah.
So the title is a little bit self-defeating in my opinion, because I don't find the movie to be very high fidelity. It's not very, like, I don't feel like the ideas conform well to themselves. I feel like I'm going to be, like, hypercritical about this movie.
I am too. And we're going to explain the reason that we're really getting elbow deep into this movie and ripping it to shreds.
Well, so we picked this one this week because I was like, okay, you got your standards, you got your American Psycho, your Fight Club, your Drive, stuff like that. But it's almost little things like this that don't get discussed whatsoever, that kind of ingrain themselves weirdly in the male psyche. And I find that they have a tendency to manifest in deep and terrible ways. So more than anything, I wanted to talk about like how this movie, I think, manifests in deep and terrible ways. See, this is like, so Falling Down, right? We were talking about how it's a movie that is attempting to criticize the way that like men in society have a tendency to benefit from the chaotic crime that white men commit, and don't realize that that's like an act of villainy. This movie is about, like, it doesn't even go that far really into trying to be about something critical of Sigma male behavior, right? It's instead, like, it gets there, but then ultimately it continues to blame women. I don't understand that. Like, so on its face, the movie very openly blames women for all these, like, breakups, all this music that the guys enjoys, like, his bad life, his weird elitism, not realizing that he owns a record store, is a DJ, has dated many people, has a beautiful apartment, has thousands of records, which were not cheap, by the way. And it's like, I don't even know if the filmmaker realizes really how privileged the main character is.
Right.
And that carries through the entire movie. And by the end of it, you're like, dang, this sucks.
Yeah. Fuck this scumbag.
Yeah. And so, like, what the movie basically is about is, like, how to do better business practices by letting your elitism, hide inside of you. It's about having better relationships with women because you, let yourself flirt with the idea of cheating on them, but you don't actually do it.
Right.
And, like, ultimately, he's got a heart of gold in there. It's just buried under all this bullshit.
Under all the cynicism.
And, yeah, exactly. So, any guy watching the movie would be like, that's like me. I'm a good guy. it's just buried under all this cynicism.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's not just cynicism, it's misogyny. And I think that that's one of the elements of the movie that, like, has gone rather unspoken.
Well, so I'm going to finish the summary of the movie so I can...
Oh, yes, we probably need to do that.
So I can voice my complaint about it.
Yes.
So his girlfriend's leaving him. He makes, like, one of the things they frequently do in the movie is like top 5 lists. That's like a reoccurring bit.
Yeah, well, so that thing, the top 5 list thing, in my opinion, is a bit like... It's not really how music fans are, but it's like desert islanding. It feels very 12 years old.
Well,
like,
they literally, like, the first time, or like in the opening scene, he's like, all right, desert island top 5.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just like the desert island top 5 hypothetical is something that, like, you do when you're like 16 with your friends, and then you can always tell when a date is going badly because a guy will whip out the desert island top 5. And so, like, you're on a date with somebody, right? And you're trying to talk just about life, just about shit. And then they, like, run out of shit to say. So they're just like, all right, top 5 favorite movies. Let's go. Let's hear it. And it's just like, I don't find that. And this is a point of contingency, and I feel like this is my big point here, actually. I don't think that media is my life. I don't think it reflects my life. Mm-hmm. I think that media reflects the way that I like to think about different and explore different ideas and people. Mm-hmm. But I don't think that the media itself has made me, right? Mm-hmm. Like, I ultimately reject this idea that your personality comes from the media you consume. I think, like, this is the contingency at the very beginning of the movie, the thesis statement at the very beginning of the movie. Does pop music make you miserable, or does you being miserable make you listen to pop music? And the reality is everybody listens to pop music. So some people like listening to it and becoming a fucking school shooter ass about it. Then, like, okay, you took a wrong turn somewhere probably. And so it's got this whole, like, we should blame the music, or we should blame me, or we should blame the fact that I molded my personality out of all this music. And in my onion, it's just like, maybe don't let media tell you who you are.
Right.
You can explore it skeptically, but people always say this, like, the movies that molded us. And it's like, molded us? Like, yeah. You know what I mean? Like, I like Mulholland Drive. It's my favorite movie. You know, I think that I connect with its ending message rather a lot, but I would not say that I am remotely like Naomi Watts in the movie Mulholland Drive. Like, there's not a part of me that went, oh shit, I need to be like that person right now. Mm-hmm. And so High Fidelity is almost the safest, weirdest way to be like, you can basically just build your whole personality out of media.
Yeah.
And everybody pointed at the movie, soy-faced, and went, ooh, literally me. I make my life out of media. Mm-hmm. I am only a collage of the movies and music and bad relationships that have been in my life. And I ultimately reject this. And so I find the point of the movie to be absurd, bizarre, and self-defeating on its face. And I would encourage anybody who genuinely thinks that media is going to develop your soul. I don't think that's true. I don't think that media is you. I don't think that media is your soul. And so I'm almost like I feel like I want to use High Fidelity as a way to extrapolate out my belief on the literally who genre, or the literally me genre. Like, this character is just me. Because, like, A, no, they're not. B, you should not be like these people. C, artists typically build people up to criticize them, and stories usually have arcs. So you start a character off as a douchebag, and by the end of the movie, you're supposed to, like, have him learn something and then become better. And so understand that the people that identify with this shit, they're not identifying with the second half of the movie where the character becomes better. They're identifying with the villainy and the deep-seated, like, confusion and rage and even misogyny of the first half of the movie. So when they say, this is building my personality, this is what my personality is built out of, they're saying it's built out of uncritical analysis of things that are dangling in their face to say, this is just like you. And it's not. And it doesn't have to be. So I feel like this is kind of that Ouroboros thing with a lot of dudes, especially how they interact with art, where it's like, you don't have to make the art be you. And you, like, it's a self-defeating cycle to continue to push yourself into the art, let the art become you, push everybody out of your life, continue to push yourself into the art, right? And you're not experiencing it. It's almost like it's providing some bedside manner to your weird hospice of death. Like, you're just, like, listening to music to celebrate your own, like, despair and demise. And that's just not what it's for. Like, I feel like that's almost like an insult to music in and of itself. And so, I don't know. I feel like this is the rare music movie where I fundamentally disagree entirely with its opinion and viewpoint on music.
Right.
Altogether. Just altogether. Continue.
All right, so moving past the first scene.
Yeah, we've finally got...
So we then find out that Scumbag McGee runs a record store. He has 2 part-time employees that are there every hour the store is open because they have nothing better to do. And the 3 store employees are all giant elitist assholes to everyone who walks in the store. To the point of... Intentionally, to the point of, like, intentionally driving people out who they don't think have proper tastes.
Right.
And so you have this thing where douchebag McGee is trying to get over his breakup, and he's sitting there watching his employees drive customers out, and he's thinking, yeah, they should have had better tastes coming in my store asking for insert, like, whatever. But but someone calls them out, and someone's like, yeah, but you all like the thing that they were asking for. And they're like, yeah, but we have better tastes.
Yeah.
And they're like, and he's like, yeah, but all of y'all own that record.
Yeah. You have to have listened to it in detail to have developed this shitty opinion about how people are bad for listening to it.
Well, but they all like it.
Right, exactly.
They just hate other people who like it because they're elite. Like, they're just scumbags. So there's literally a character who, like, someone's trying to buy a record, and they're like, no, you can't have this record. Get out of the store. And he's like,
you can go buy it at fucking Walmart.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And then this other character is like, the other guy's like, hey, can I buy that? And like, yeah.
Yeah.
He's like, why didn't you sell it to the other guy? And they're like, well, because you have good taste.
Well, and he wanted it.
Yeah.
And that was the problem. He wanted it. And so their mentality there is that music should be inaccessible.
Right.
To the people who desire it deeply.
Yeah.
And, like, it's a Captain Beefheart record that they're referring to in the moment where they're talking about... And if you know anything about Captain Beefheart, which I don't even know if the movie does, that's a good question. It's, like, fucking insane, gnarly, psychedelic music. And, like acid jazz kind of vibe. And, like, somebody specifically asking for a specific Captain Beefheart record... probably knows more about that kind of vibe than you do, so you might as well just go ahead and give it to them. And, like, the other guy's just like, oh shit, I like that record. That's pretty rare. I'll give you $50 for it. And it's just like, I understand the idea of it's just a commodity, but if it's just a commodity, you should probably consider selling it to the people that actually desire it. And I know that the movie is trying to set up and criticize this behavior, right? But my point, I think, more is that because it's the literally me genre, they watch it and they go, haha, I'd do that. I'd be like, yeah, you can't have this record. But then some other guy, I'd be like, absolutely, you can have it, you know? And it's just like, I like to be the arbiter of who gets to have the music. And it's kind of like a movie that is like three assholes all competing constantly to grab the aux cable. Mm-hmm. And you're like, if y'all don't stop, I'm going to throw myself out of the car. Mm-hmm. Anyway, continue.
So that the character who they eventually sold the Captain Beefheart record to was literally like, hey, you know, if y'all weren't such giant elitist assholes, you'd probably run a successful business, right?
Yeah, people would probably actually buy music here.
And then they're all like, huh, food for the thought.
Yeah, people intentionally don't shop here because we're assholes?
Yeah.
Interesting.
So, as they're learning to not be giant elitist musical pricks, and Captain Douchebag is going through his breakup.
Yeah.
He keeps on communicating with a mutual friend of him and his girlfriend. And then at one point she walks in, just walks into the store, yells like, "You fucking asshole!" at him, and then leaves. And he's like, "Yeah, I knew that would happen." And he like looks at the camera. He's like, "All right, so here's what happened. She had a conversation with my ex, and my ex told her at least two of like four things. One, that I got her pregnant, and then cheated on her while she was pregnant. Like two, that the pregnancy was terminated. I can't remember three. I can't remember the other two, but like he's like, it's at this moment where he's moping around because he's like, what did I do? Women hate me. Like, you know, I haven't done anything wrong with women. Women just hate me. And then he like literally sits down and is like, all right, well, here's the truth. I got her pregnant, cheated on her,
and then made her get an abortion.
And then told her that I was interested in seeing other people.
So
it's like, damn,
you deserved it.
Yeah, it's like, no wonder she packed up her things and left you. Like,
yeah, exactly.
It's like, damn, it sounds like he also told her he was unhappy in the relationship.
Right.
And it's like, yeah, well, if somebody did those four things, I too would leave.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and also, like, he's like, I have such a bad reputation with women, and it's kind of there's the Kanye thing too, where there's like significant portions of Kanye music where he's just like, yeah, I got such a bad reputation with women, and it really makes my life difficult that I have such a bad reputation with women. And it's like, well, have you considered not beating them?
Right. Yeah.
Have you considered not emotionally abusing them or manipulating them?
Yeah.
Because that typically works for any old fuck just walking around the street.
Right.
You know, and so like, I can understand being like, oh, I have a very self-defensive reputation, but I don't quite understand. I've got this aggressive male bad behavior thing, and I cannot stand it that women all around town are telling each other not to fuck with me because I'm an emotionally abusive scumbag. How dare them? Mm-hmm. Like, but then also, I deserve it. It's that fucking narcissistic self-deprecation thing.
Right.
They continue to see themselves as the main character so far as their main characterness is bolstered by the flaws that they have. Mm-hmm. And so they believe that until something comes along and changes them and makes them have a story, they believe that they must continue to harbor their flaws and protect their flaws until someone can massage them out of them. Mm-hmm. And, like, the more mature thing is, like, at any moment you can just go, I don't think I'd like to do this anymore, and then you can stop. But, like, they don't know that they're doing something shitty. Mm-hmm. Or they do, and they don't care. Or they do, and they like it because they think that it makes women attracted to them, because women apparently like project people. Like, they like project men where they're like, okay, this man is not perfect, but a good man, perhaps could become a great man one day. And so the idea is like, well, if I bait them out with all these flaws, you know, somebody will eventually come along and change me. But if I don't ever actually change, and I don't want to change, ever from these behaviors, then basically I'm just putting women into my life, expecting them to fix me. They don't fix me. I get resentful, and then I attack them and myself for years.
Mm-hmm.
Continue.
Okay. Okay, so because of his plight, he decides that he's going to figure out why women hate him. So he starts to contact all of his top 5 list of breakups. And then he starts to, and at the same time, he starts seeing this local musician who's like really good. That's kind of a weird plot they brought up and then ditched and then never like picked up. But so he's seeing this local musician. He's contacting all these exes, and he's finding out that they have complicated lives of their own. Right. They're really doing their own thing.
Yeah.
And it turns out that if all of their relationships failing, if it wasn't entirely him, he had equal blame.
Right.
So if it wasn't him being a giant prick to the women and them leaving him, like, you know, it was a mutual thing. And so he's starting to have this realization that, oh, women aren't out to get me. My behavior is driving women away.
Yeah.
And so he then, upon having this realization, starts to change. Like there's literally a scene where he's breaking the fourth wall. He's talking to you in the audience, and he's explaining that he is changing the way he's thinking about women to be less incel-y. So he's literally
adversarial.
Yeah, he's like literally
instead of thinking here's the top 5 things that I fucking hate about this bitch. Instead, he's like, here's the top 5 things that I like, I guess.
Yeah, that I miss about her.
Right.
And shit. And so his business is starting to get successful. He's starting to be more at peace with himself because he's realized the cause of strife in his life is him, and the only consequences he faces are the direct consequences of his own actions. Yeah. So he's learned to take responsibility for himself and his actions, and his life is getting better. The
masculine urge to be a self-hating prick.
Yeah.
Anyway, continue.
And then his ex's dad dies. He goes to the funeral. And then she's like, I have to feel something, so either have sex with me or I'm gonna go do self-harm. And he doesn't really respond, and then she's like, just stay still, I'll do it. And then she kind of rapes him.
Yeah.
Because there's never a point where he's like, yes. He just is like, and then it happens.
Yeah.
Which isn't ideal. But then that's the catalyst for them getting back together. And then...
Which is gross.
And then, like, anyway, then the rest of the movie is fucking bullshit. So he finds, like, whatever. He finds a bunch of, like, fucking gutter punks that actually make good music. So he's
like, I'm going to have a label. I'm going to release their shitty music.
Yeah, he's like, I'm going to produce y'all. He goes back to being a DJ. But there's this thing where his like girlfriend sets up this like big concert for him and his friends where they can all go and play their music, and it's like it'll just be this big fun thing. And he like flips the fuck out at her and everyone else.
Yeah, and treats it like it's this like absolute.
Treats it like everyone's attacking him.
Yeah,
but it's like no, everyone is just trying to have fun. Why? And it's not even. But this isn't presented as a bad thing. Like this is presented as like, well, everyone shouldn't have like conspired to do this behind his back.
Yeah, it's it's surprising him with an opportunity.
Yeah,
like so
anyway, so there's also this like other plot where this like there's this person who writes about music, who's he starts flirting with, and then gives that up because he wants to make a commitment to girlfriend prime.
Right.
And then the movie ends after they've done this concert, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm going to commit to this girlfriend." So my okay, before I get into my big gripes, before I get on my soapbox and rant, we got to do some ads.
Oh, ads.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, we'll let you in, but like you gotta have like some pretty good taste. So top 5 fucking bands. Let's hear it. Let's go.
Bands.
Let's go.
Well,
let's hear it.
Number 1 is
Radiohead.
Silent Planet.
Okay.
Number 2, Oh Sleeper.
Okay.
Number 3, I Hunt. Hashtag I Hunt. By
What is that?
Machinist Productions. It's a.
I've never heard of that.
Of course you haven't.
No one's heard of it.
No one's heard of it. It's a tabletop RPG about an app where you go and you fight monsters in the gig economy. It's a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's a great thematic experience while you're listening to the vinyl.
Oh, okay. It sounds good on vinyl. I see. 180 gram crisp. Okay. Number 4. Let's go.
Number 4 is Ambient Dream Studio.
Okay.
By the band Etsy, I guess.
Oh, maybe. I think it would actually be the album Etsy by Ambient Dream Studio.
Oh,
let's give them some accreditation. You know what I mean? Well, so isn't that really cool ass psychedelic art that you see? It makes you see shit, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you listen to the vinyl. It's like synesthesia.
Yeah.
Only you see things.
Yeah. There's the fifth one is patreon.com/excrement.
That's that's one of your favorites?
Yeah, it is.
Wow. That's
5.
fucking lame.
So
patreon.com/excrement. That's that place where people go to donate $1 to that podcast that sucks.
Yeah.
Damn it. Wow. Well, okay. I would call your taste mid, so I'm going to let you in. Oh my god. I was trying to think of like how I could marry this bit with like another stupid vinyl thing,
right.
but then apparently like the whole bit is just I'm a bouncer letting you into a record store. I mean, I guess that's a fun bit.
Do record stores have bouncers?
No, but they should.
They should?
Yeah.
Why, to be even more elitist?
Yeah, I have to stand at the door. All right, what are you here for? And if they're like, I'm looking for Folklore by Taylor Swift, I'd be like, go to Target!
Where can I find a fucking elitist record store? Because it feels like every record store is like, we're the hardcore, we only carry the rarest records. And you go in, it's like Slayer, Metallica.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's like, god damn it.
I feel like every record store is just like, hi, come on, why don't you come on in? Why don't you buy one? Come on. I love that record. And it doesn't matter what it is. And like, see, this is where another point of contingency, I suppose, with like, because like this movie treats people who like records as like hipster assholes.
Yeah.
And like records are very popular and have been forever.
Yeah.
And because everybody buys them who likes music. So like, it's not quirky, it's not cottagecore or weird to have vinyl. It's an industry.
Yeah.
Like, it's kind of like people who are like, yeah, I'm weird, you know, I'm kind of a nerd. I like Star Wars.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, that's the most popular movie of all time. So, you know what I mean? And so it's
not
like
as popular as Avatar.
So these fucking guys, they're like, all right, I like music, so I guess I'm kind of weird. And you're like, nope, everybody likes music. Anyway, sorry, I'm screaming. It's just everybody likes music,
I like
dude.
this band. You probably have heard of them. It's Pink Floyd. You know, Dark Side of the Moon.
Yeah. Oh my God, have you not listened to that one Radiohead record? You know, Pablo Honey. I know that. Okay. Anyway, we could talk ad infinitum about this stupid shit, but the name drops in this movie, right? Like, there are a couple. There's one point where he's like, yeah, people come in here because they want Zappa records. And I'm not talking about that bullshit reissue Zappa shit. I'm talking about that old shit where he's got the sticker on it and shit. And it's like, I don't think that that's the thing that people give the most of a fuck about these days. Like, I understand this movie came out a long time ago, but I mean, like, the vinyl collectors that I know typically buy a lot of music they like.
Well, and it's like all the music they listen to is weird pop stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like it's like a lot of vinyl that I've seen isn't contemporary pop.
Right. I almost feel like if this movie was about like a black metal record store, and they were all a bunch of like douchebag 18-year-old black metal assholes who got a fuckload of money from their parents to open a record store, the whole movie would suddenly be at least a twinge more justified.
Or would it just be Lords of Chaos?
I mean, it would, but
it would literally just be Lords of Chaos.
Yeah, it would.
Except like Jack Black would murder someone.
Well, I mean, hopefully me, so I don't have to continue to watch the film. The fucked up thing.
No, now I'm just seeing Jack Black in corpse paint, stabbing the shit out of the bald dude.
The sequel for Tenacious D is gonna be fucking awesome. So, all right, it's time to hear you bitch.
Me bitch
ad infinitum about how fucking.
Well, okay, so my biggest fucking frustration is like literally the first 5 minutes. I was like, I would like to declare jihad against this film, and I texted May, I texted another friend, and I was like, this fucking movie
is the worst.
The worst. And then as the moment where he starts to like realize that he is the cause of everything wrong in his life.
Yeah.
And like the scene where the guy's like, hey, y'all are being really pretentious and elitist. Maybe y'all would have a successful business if you didn't do that. Mm-hmm. It's like, oh shit, this movie's trying to talk about how how to like deprogram this like bullshit, and he's literally, the main character is literally fourth wall breaking, talking about how to
stop being this exact prick.
Yes, and it's like literally, it's like, yes, it's like the way you change your relationship with things is you literally go and you like rewire your brain. And I think it's like really cool that there is a scene in the movie where he's just talking about how to do that. It's like, I was like, well, it's like, why does everyone say this movie is like, or why does they say this movie sucks? This is really like hitting on the head. I'm really like vibing on this.
Yeah.
And then there's like the scene where like he has sex in the car.
You're gonna have to fuck me.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. My dad died. You're going to have to.
It's like,
and it's just like, I agree. Women are crazy.
Have you not? Well, it's really shitty writing.
Oh, it's fucking abysmal.
It is,
because it's like completely without any actual literal motivation.
Right. Well,
I've experienced death and grief, and at no point did I go, well, fuck, my dad died. I need to have sex with somebody.
Right.
Like that shit does not happen. A.
No. B,
if it did, it would turn out badly. And C, if you actually tried to make a commitment-based relationship based on like A, prior emotional abuse, a breakup in the past, which is evidence of future not working out, and then like literally the whole relationship is based on one bad, awkward sexual encounter now, and they're gonna base that to deflect from her grief. Like, her grief is absolutely going to take over this relationship, and he, an asshole, is not going to be the most supportive of that.
Right.
And it's just going to fall apart.
Yeah.
Like, again, and so I understand that the movie's trying to say, see, all you got to do is just rewire your brain, and then everything just comes right to you.
But what's incredibly frustrating is taking advantage of her in that state is the most beginning of the movie incel-y bullshit possible.
Well, and so the question is like, what the fuck is the movie actually?
Well, but I don't think that the people making the movie see it that way. But I think it's like, if I were to make this movie good, like at this point in the movie, he's already like kind of starting a relationship with that musician, like literally
someone who's far better for him, someone he literally talks about dreaming being with.
Yeah,
like, God, I wish I could be with a musician. By the way, there are tons of those.
Yeah, he like literally breaks things off with her so he can have post father death sex with someone who he has realized in this point in the movie isn't very good for him.
Right.
Like and so it's like just have the rest of the movie be like, literally you can follow the same fucking beats, just replace her with the musician. And it even makes more fucking sense.
It genuinely feels like the first half of this movie and the second half of this movie were made by different people who did not communicate.
Yes. So like, well, the whole thing of her setting up the show for him.
Yeah.
How the fuck did she do that? She works at a law firm. But like, if you replace her with the musician, she's a musician. Like it's like that is something like tenable to her.
Right. It makes sense that she would do that. But the thing is, I think also the movie didn't want to do a Manic Pixie Dream Girl thing where it was like, oh, he just needed to meet the right girl. But oftentimes that is an element to it. But you do need to meet the right person.
But when, like as he's interacting with her, it is also very clearly showing that it isn't his interactions with her that is changing him. It's literally him, like the reason he changed is because he's been contacting his exes and he's been realizing that he needs to take blame for what he's done in his past relationships, and that like selflessness, and I don't want to say selflessness, but that like accountability is what is making this relationship he's pursuing with the musician work.
Right.
So like it's not even like even if they were to do that, it isn't he meets the perfect girl and everything goes well.
Right. Because it's not a Manic Pixie Dream Girl thing because it's him working on himself and somebody being around to basically engage with that.
And so it's like it's so fucking frustrating to me that they have one of the most like literally honestly there's 30 minutes of that movie that I think is perfect. Like I think it is. Like I think if you could recontextualize those 30 minutes and if you could put them in a good movie, it would be amazing.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It would, but instead they literally, and it's not even like the path to make it not shitty is so obvious, and it's Chekhov guns
in the movie. Yeah.
In the movie,
like demonstrate exactly.
Like it's like they set the movie up for it to be good, and then they make it as bad and reducive and backwards as possible.
Well, so this movie has one giant flaw, and in order to tell you the giant flaw, I have to do a brain blast a decade ago. So very briefly, 10 years ago or whatever, I was in a screenwriting class, and I had watched the film High Fidelity, and I didn't like it very much. And I said, I would like to write a feature film that was High Fidelity, basically, only it was better. And so I made this determination that we're talking about now, which is like, okay, well, if we can just get it to where, he realizes that he's the problem, and that's the epiphany of the movie. Like, that's the big twist of the movie, is him actually genuinely realizing that he was the problem and trying to genuinely do better. Mm-hmm. That would be great. And so I began drafting it, and I drafted like a treatment of the screenplay, and then I ended up actually doing 2 drafts of a final version of it, which lie somewhere in a graveyard. And in this like scenario, I turned in a file to my screenwriting professor, who then like had a conversation with me about High Fidelity and about my script. And he said to me, he was like this 35-year-old gay guy named Kyle. No joke. That was my screenwriting professor.
Kyle.
Yeah. And so he's like, the problem with High Fidelity is not that the movie doesn't commit to its themes. And this is the thing that you need to realize. The problem with the movie is that there's no good reason for it to exist. Like, there's no good reason to have made High Fidelity. And so if you're trying to do better High Fidelity, you need to ask yourself the same question, which is, does this need to exist? And oftentimes, most of the time, with stories, the answer is, unfortunately, no, this does not need to exist. But the reasoning, the flaw, the big crippling flaw, passivity. The main character of High Fidelity is a passive character. He goes to work, he goes to sleep. He bitches about things, but he never changes, and he doesn't know how. And it's not that he rejects change, it's that he doesn't know how and doesn't understand like the concept of being different than the shitbag he is.
Right.
And whenever they try to introduce the concept of change, I feel that it's the screenwriter implying that something arcing needs to occur so the movie doesn't look like it ends in the same place that it starts, or the movie's putting us back in the same place where it starts, and it's trying to demonstrate to us that passivity actually causes these problems. Like, being passive causes these problems. So, like, the screenplay that I had written, I found also contained the same passive character.
Right.
And that's the problem.
But I think he wasn't passive in the second act. He was passive in the first act.
But that sex scene, right? Where we're like,
right,
she
right,
takes
right.
Yeah.
But that's where the movie like that to me is where the movie dies.
Because
right?
it chooses to let him continue to be passive.
But like I feel like there's a reason for a movie like this to exist. Where a movie about shitty scumbag dude who goes on a journey of self-discovery post breakup,
right,
to try to justify his hate, his misogyny, and then he discovers that like, no, I shouldn't be misogynistic, it's my fault,
right.
And so because he's passive in the first act of the movie until the mutual friend walks in and screams at him because he's an asshole,
yeah,
and that puts him down a path of like soul searching. So then after that, he is active in trying to fix himself.
Right.
And then you think he's made progress, and then the movie then like crams him back into the passive scumbag duffel bag. But it didn't have to. And if it didn't do that, I think it would have been a very, very good fucking movie.
I'm going to say a very mom thing, but I notice in a lot of these movies, like a lot of Sigma movies like this, nobody ever cracks a book. You know what I mean? Like, at no point does John Cusack go, fuck, I should read.
No, he does talk about it.
What is
in the starting scene, he's like, yeah, I've read books. I can't remember what all books but he name drops a bunch of books. And he's like, you know what they're about? Women. And you know what my favorite book is? The Johnny Cash autobiography. So he like name drops.
Yeah, that's right.
He name drops all these like really heady, important books.
Right.
And then he's like, I've read them all. You know, they're just about women. I don't think they're that good. But you know what the best book is? What is it? Walk the Line by Johnny Cash or whatever the fuck
exactly.
he named
Cash
his book.
by Johnny Cash.
Yeah, that's
well,
it.
And so, like, you know, see, here's the thing, though. He hasn't read the Mahabharata. You know what I mean? He hasn't read, like, the Poems of Love by Rumi. You know, things that would genuinely change his mind on things. Mm-hmm. You know, it's not like he's exploring art and culture in any sort of demonstrable way.
It's because the only time he talks about books in the movie is when he's using it to back up being a pretentious dick.
Yeah, and so it's just like he just doesn't know how to humble himself before things, and he's so passive about things that it's just like he'll just let them just be the stupid shit they are.
But not in the second act.
I know. I mean, it's like
it's so fucking frustrating.
I know.
Where it's like it hurts. It's literally a thorn in my fucking side. It's like it's like a fourth of a puzzle missing.
Yeah,
it is
like a crime.
It is like it's like if you're listening to a song and there's one discordant note, then it's like ah.
Yeah, exactly.
I am so fucking heated about this. Like yesterday I finished the movie and I couldn't go to sleep because I was heated. I woke up this morning. I was like going a million miles at work because I was heated and I was passionate and I was driven because this is so frustrating.
Well, it doesn't really quite make sense why this is always the angle, and it feels like the rejection of change, the rejection of these things, it's about two things, right? On one hand, it's about maintaining this air so that the movie can give you the impression that it's about change, but also he never has to let go of his addictions. Because his addictions, it turns out, are the basis of the whole fucking movie. Because, like, his addiction to purchasing vinyl, right?
Yeah.
Or his addiction to, like, owning collectibles
Yeah.
as if that's your personality, or like it's a capitalist thing. He thinks that his personality is based on the things he owns,
Right.
the things he owns. Like literally the whole movie has this like spiritual bent to it where he's like going through and organizing his record collection autobiographically,
I
which
do
is the
really
most
like that scene.
fucking, it's so stupid to me. But like,
Well, I think the movie does a good job of explaining how unhinged it is, because he's
oh,
trying
it's
to
completely unhinged.
He's trying to explain to someone. He's like, if I have to listen, or if I need to listen to Fleetwood Mac, then I have to remember the exact day I bought it. And then someone in the room is like, okay, dude.
Well, and see, it's the worship of the purchase. It's
Right.
not the record itself. It's not the music. So the question, right, to go back to the thesis of the movie, the opening question, does pop music make me miserable, or am I miserable and thus I listen to pop music? The reality is you've been given this consumptive script, and you believe that instead of spending private time working on yourself, you believe that you have to amass a collection of objects that you couldn't possibly even listen to in a current amount of time, and also spinning records is few and far between as compared to owning them,
Right.
buying them, having them, owning some sort of piece of history. So the bit of it is he wants to own physically his history.
Mm-hmm.
He wants to physically own his history. And it's like the attachment between capitalism, purchasing records and shit like that, and actual like personal value, like this has some sort of tangible personal value. Like Rumors represent that record by Fleetwood Mac.
Yeah.
Represents to everyone who's probably listened to it and obsessed over it that breakup. Like
Yeah.
everybody's got that breakup, and the album Rumors like is just perfectly capturing whatever that breakup was for you.
Mm-hmm.
Right? But so who do we attribute that to? Does that mean that Rumors as a product, as a thing you can go spend $25 and go buy, is that representative of your past?
Mm-hmm.
And the answer is no. Your past is the representative of your past, and music is simply the tool we use to process it and the tool we use to engage with it in a safe way. And so, like, I find this, like, weird, almost obsession with collectibles, obsession with spending a bunch of money on shit you don't need that you think is going to somehow justify your position in the world. It's basically saying that your ego is the things you own.
Mm-hmm.
And like, his apartment almost represents his mind, right? Where there's just all these albums, all this stuff, and he feels like he's constantly making mixtapes, which is to say he sits down with everything in his mind and then he crafts a little thing and he gives it to somebody so that they'll have better taste,
Mm-hmm.
so that they'll have comparable taste to him. Hey, I'll make you a mix. Hey, pass the aux cord. I want to show you something.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the way he sees exploring his mind. And the reality is, like, yes, music is a wonderful way to connect with people, but the obsessive collectible attitude and the obsessive, like, my ego is my property, and, like, my engagement with the world is assembling my property inside my mind and then gifting it as if I'm gracing the world with my playlist, is fucking stupid. And the end of the movie has this big "we did it" Reddit moment.
Yeah.
Where it's just like, we're gonna be okay. Men are gonna be okay.
Yeah.
And that's like the way it ends. And it's just like, yeah, they're gonna be okay because they're gonna continue to consume the same like products that they are considering to be art.
They're gonna be
thus
okay.
are
'Cause
greater.
They're gonna keep listening to the Swans.
Exactly. They're going to keep listening to the same 5 fucking things and thinking that it's like important. Like, I don't know. It's ultimately a weird, vague enforcement of capitalism and its authority. like its authority. It's not a movie about art and how art affects us and how art changes us and how it influences us and how it helps us process the things we need to feel. Instead, it's about how art is a commodity, owning art is a personality, and exploring that art is how you build your personality, and then communicating with other people is about delivering a mixtape.
Mm-hmm.
And like, if you want to change, well, how am I supposed to change my collectibles?
Right.
All I am is my collectibles.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing I could change about my collectibles is how they're organized. Instead of by alphabetical, maybe they're autobiographical. So then I'll see and I'll care and I'll watch my life fall apart in linear order or some shit. But like, I don't know. That just ain't it.
Yeah. All right. Before we judge the movie, top 3 incel bands.
Top 3 incel bands?
Yeah.
Like bands that incels like?
Or just bands that are incelly.
Okay. Radiohead.
Okay.
Geez. Sorry, Radiohead fans. I like Radiohead, okay? But like, let's acknowledge who is the consumer. Let's see. What I mean, I could say Swans, but I also know the people that I know that listen to Swans, while being weirdly incelly, do in fact get it. Yeah. So like, and also heroin. They get it and heroin. So I don't know if I'd call that incelly. That seems like a bit of a vibe. So we got to go with something else.
All right, I'm
Giles Corey, maybe.
I'm gonna finish out the list.
All right, what you got?
Neutral Milk Hotel.
Oh fuck.
Sabaton.
I mean, maybe.
I mean, it has...
Sabaton, I think, goes back. I don't think enough people know or care about Sabaton to call that a thing. I think when I think of incel music, I think of self-important bullshit. So Neutral Milk Hotel was perfect. Let's talk about self-important bullshit. I love that record.
Sabaton is the most self-important band I have ever heard. I think your hatred for Sabaton has blinded you to how many people like Sabaton.
I mean, maybe. I'm gonna now Google. Incel bands. Let's see what the people in the world think incel bands kind of are. The incel anthems of post-punk.
Oh, hell yeah.
Ariel Pink.
Yep.
Yes. Big fucking agree.
Go.
Ariel Pink. Crywank.
I haven't heard of Crywank.
I would absolutely 100% be like Crywank is 100% that. Gorillas, maybe? I don't know. People like Gorillas.
I disagree. I disagree with that one.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I feel like this is kind of a weird thing we're doing, where we're like going through and blaming all these bands for their.
No,
Ariel Pink deserves it because Ariel Pink is a right wing piece of shit.
I don't think you can blame a band because like Neutral Milk Hotel. Like I really like Neutral Milk Hotel and I get I really like his vibe, but I feel like also a lot of incels will also listen to him, listen to his sorrow, and not get the fucking vibe.
Okay, I have found the incel music compass. The 4 categories are as follows: misogynistic, sad, misanthropic, and horny.
Oh, hell yeah.
In the misogynist and horny section, we've got Weezer, Kanye West, modern baseball, the Beatles, American football, and Pavement.
No. Insert bleep here. Showed us that list one time.
Oh yeah, it was like, I think tag that's yourself. Right. And then it's got misogynistic and sad is Neutral Milk Hotel, The Smiths, Radiohead, The Stone Roses, Red House Painters, Slow Dive.
Insert name here. Literally.
Yeah, some bitch literally fucking.
Yeah.
Okay, sad misanthropic. We've got Car Seat Headrest, Duster, Godspeed You Black Emperor, Slim, Sunbather, and Joy Division. Which Joy Division, incel core.
I do like Godspeed You Black Emperor.
They're okay.
They're okay.
Horny and misanthropic. We've got Deftones. Wow! All right, fuck you, first of all, because Deftones is my favorite. Anyway, Black Country New Road, Death Grips, Death Heaven, 9 Inch Nails, and Swans. So they consider Swans to be incel-core, but I don't know if I'd consider 9 Inch Nails to be incel-core, because I know way too many teenage girls who got it on to that whole record.
Well, right, but there's also way too many incels who will never get it on.
To Swans, for sure. Yeah, no, you're right. I mean, I feel like every incel ever probably at some point listened to that one 9 Inch Nails song, Wish, that's like, why isn't there anything in the world that's for me? And they're just like, what's wrong? Why does no girl want to touch my penis? Which is fair. I mean, why? Why, dude?
All right.
Why doesn't she?
All right, after that tangent.
We need to review this film.
Crap or gold?
Crap.
All right. I mean, we've spent an hour and 5 minutes going over why we think this is crap.
Dude. Here, I'll give you one reason why this movie kind of rules, okay? One. There's only one.
Jack Black?
Joan Cusack, okay? Joan Cusack. Joan. That is John Cusack's sister. She's a quirky weirdo who I adore.
Who's she in the movie?
She's like, I don't even remember. She's just like very unrelated character.
Oh.
She's kind of like that woman that's like very frantic all the time.
Oh, the mutual friend.
Yeah,
Liz.
the mutual friend Liz, who's very, very frantic.
The only character's name I can remember.
I love her.
Yeah.
I love her in everything she's ever been in. I remember this one time I was driving down a dark country road and I was spinning the radio around, turning the dials on the tuner, when I found myself on a radio station where Joan Cusack was reading the UFO reports. And I was like, oh my God, I love her. And it's been that since then. And also, I would like to throw this little hat in the ring. I find that Joan Cusack and Azrael Erickson have a lot in common.
Yeah.
I find them both looking and sounding similar.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the one good reason for High Fidelity. They actually gave Joan Cusack a speaking role in a film.
Right.
That's cool. Unfortunately, it's not as good as School of Rock, so fuck this movie. Go watch School of Rock.
All right.
Yeah.
And we'll see y'all next week.
Yep. And
go to the Patreon.
do the things.
Do
yeah,
the
you
ads,
can
do the thing. Subscribe, like.